Story 1. When I first met my girlfriend's father, I had no idea what to expect. The whole encounter turned out to be a whirlwind of competition and mixed signals that left me both exhilarated and perplexed. Our introduction was anything but ordinary. Instead of the usual polite chit-chat, my girlfriend's dad, let's call him Mr. Smith, challenged me to a game of chess. I was taken aback, but accepted the challenge. Little did I know that this was just the beginning of a memorable day. As we squared off over the chessboard, I couldn't help but feel the pressure. It was more than a friendly game. It felt like a test of my worthiness to date his daughter. To my surprise, I won the chess match decisively. Mr. Smith, while clearly competitive, was gracious in defeat. The atmosphere shifted, and we moved on to his man cave, a treasure trove of pool tables, video game consoles, and sports memorabilia. I was invited to play a game of pool, and once again, luck favored me. I managed to sink the final ball, sealing my victory. Then came the video games. We picked up controllers and dove into a gaming session that would make even the most dedicated gamers envious. Again, I emerged victorious. The competitive tension hung in the air, but we managed to maintain some sense of sportsmanship. Despite our competitive showdown, we didn't exchange many words afterward. It was as if we had exhausted our means of communication through the games. Mr. Smith remained an enigmatic figure in my mind, leaving me to wonder what he thought of me. To my surprise, it became evident over time that Mr. Smith actually preferred me as his daughter's boyfriend. Perhaps our competitive spirit had won him over. Though our initial encounter was marked by fierce competition and few words, it seemed to have established a mutual respect between us. In the end, my first meeting with my girlfriend's father was a unique blend of competition and silent understanding. While we may not have engaged in lengthy conversations, our unspoken bond over games seemed to have done the talking for us. It was a memorable introduction that paved the way for a positive relationship between a father and his daughter's boyfriend. Story 2. One Saturday, just before the start of hunting season, my sister dropped a bombshell on our family. She brought her new boyfriend home without any prior notice. Little did we know that this impromptu introduction would turn out to be a tale of awkwardness and unintentional intimidation. As fate would have it, my father and I had been outside, assessing our hunting rifles. We were around 500 yards away from the house when my sister and her boyfriend arrived. Unbeknownst to us, they stepped into an unexpected situation. From their perspective, it must have been quite intimidating. Here they were, expecting a simple family gathering, only to find my father and me outside, surrounded by hunting gear and rifles. It must have felt like a scene straight out of an action movie. The encounter was awkward right from the start. My father and I tried to ease the tension by welcoming my sister's boyfriend and making polite conversation. But the atmosphere remained charged with unspoken discomfort. We couldn't help but feel that we had unintentionally cast a shadow of intimidation over the poor guy. The hunting season preparation and the unexpected outdoor setting were far from the cozy, relaxed family introduction my sister had probably hoped for. In the end, the visit turned out to be a lot less warm and welcoming than we had all envisioned. It was a classic case of unintended intimidation, where circumstances and our preoccupations collided to create an awkward first encounter. Despite the rocky start, my sister's boyfriend eventually got to know our family better, and we all had a good laugh about that memorable first meeting. It served as a lesson in the unpredictability of family gatherings and a reminder that sometimes life throws you into the most unexpected situations, making for stories to cherish and chuckle about in the future. Story 3. One evening, my teenage daughter brought home a popular but rather rude boy for a date. His manners left much to be desired, and I decided it was time for a little playful payback. As he came to pick up my daughter, I greeted him at the door, insisting that he come inside and meet her parents before they left. Instead of adopting the stern, intimidating parental act I had initially planned, I decided to have a bit of fun. I went all out, acting as if I was genuinely interested in our guest. I asked him about his hobbies, his school, and his plans for the future. I could see the boy's discomfort growing with each polite inquiry. He clearly wasn't prepared for this unexpected turn of events. The evening ended, and my daughter and her date went off on their date, but the fun was far from over. Later that night, I sent the boy a Facebook message, using my best mock-serious tone. I told him that he was the rudest boy to ever walk up the steps to my house, and added a winking emoji To make my playful intent clear, the boy was utterly shocked by the message. He must have thought I was serious, and he sent back a flurry of apologetic messages, explaining that he hadn't meant to be rude and didn't want to upset me. I couldn't keep the charade up for long, so I eventually confessed that it was all a prank. The boy was relieved but also amused by the whole ordeal. The best part was that I kept the entire message exchange a secret from my daughter for several months. It became a funny and memorable family story, one that we'd laugh about for years to come. It also served as a valuable lesson to the boy about treating others with respect, even in the face of unexpected challenges. In the end, my impromptu prank had turned the tables on the disrespectful date, and it was a humorous reminder that sometimes a little fun and laughter can go a long way in teaching life's important lessons. Story 4. My sister's new boyfriend was about to experience an unforgettable welcome into our family, courtesy of our dad and his unique sense of humor. As the boyfriend arrived to pick up my sister for their date, my dad had something special in mind. He had taken our old sledgehammer, which had seen better days, and decided to give it a complete makeover. With great care, he polished it until it gleamed, transforming it into a striking work of art. But instead of wielding it menacingly, my dad displayed the newly polished sledgehammer prominently in the hallway, right by the entrance. It was impossible to miss, and it left an indelible impression on anyone who walked by. As my sister's boyfriend stepped into our home, his eyes inevitably landed on the gleaming sledgehammer. The boy was taken aback, to say the least. I could see his discomfort as he tried to process this unexpected display of craftsmanship. But here's where my dad's unique sense of humor came into play. Instead of playing the role of the intimidating father, he decided to go the opposite direction. He greeted the boyfriend with a warm smile and said something along the lines of, "Ah, I see you've noticed my prized sledgehammer. Quite a beauty, isn't it?" The boy was clearly baffled by the situation, unsure whether my dad was joking or serious. My dad continued to chat about the sledgehammer, its history, and even its imagined legacy within our family. The more he talked about it, the more absurd and humorous the situation became. By the time my sister and her boyfriend left for their date, the polished sledgehammer had become a symbol of my dad's unique welcome. It had successfully added an unexpected twist to the situation, leaving the boyfriend both bewildered and entertained. In the end, my dad's unconventional welcome served as a reminder that a little humor can go a long way in breaking the ice and making memorable family moments. It was a tale we'd laugh about for years to come, and it was a testament to my dad's ability to turn any situation into a lighthearted adventure. Story 5. When my girlfriend introduced me to her father, I knew it would be a crucial moment. He had a reputation for his sharp sense of humor and his love for sports, music, and movies. Little did I know that our first encounter would involve a hilarious pop culture pop quiz. As I stepped into their home, her father, let's call him Mr. Smith, welcomed me with a friendly smile. But it didn't take long for the quiz to begin. He started by asking me about my favorite sports teams. To my relief, I managed to name a few, and that earned me a nod of approval. Next, he shifted to the realm of music, asking about my favorite bands and genres. Mr. Smith had an encyclopedic knowledge of classic rock, and I could tell he was testing my musical prowess. I tried my best to hold my own in the conversation, naming a few bands and genres I enjoy. Fortunately, my choices seemed to pass his musical litmus test. But it wasn't over yet. The movie segment of the quiz followed. Mr. Smith asked about my favorite films and directors, and it was clear that he had a deep appreciation for cinema. I scrambled to mention a few acclaimed movies and directors, hoping I wouldn't fall short in this category. Throughout the quiz, Mr. Smith maintained a playful and humorous tone, making me feel at ease despite the pressure. It became apparent that he was genuinely interested in my interests, and wasn't out to intimidate me. As the quiz concluded, he flashed a mischievous grin and said, "You've passed the test." We all shared a good laugh, and it became clear that the quiz was more about breaking the ice than a strict evaluation of my pop culture knowledge. My first meeting with Mr. Smith became a fun and memorable memory for our family. It was a testament to his welcoming nature and his ability to use humor to put people at ease. The pop culture pop quiz served as an icebreaker and a lighthearted introduction to our future interactions. It was a quiz I passed with flying colors, not just in terms of knowledge, but in gaining a new friend in Mr. Smith. Story 6. Growing up, my dad and his best friends were a unique bunch. They had a knack for quirky, humorous activities that set them apart from the rest of the world. Their antics made them not just my dad's best friends, but also my favorite people. One sunny summer day, I looked out the window to see my dad and his pals dressed up in Speedos, armed with lawnmowers, and ready to tackle our overgrown lawn. It was a sight to behold, and I couldn't help but burst into laughter at their audacious choice of attire for yard work. Their enthusiasm was infectious, and I joined them in the fun. Their off-key singing was another source of amusement. When they gathered for a backyard barbecue, they would form a makeshift band and serenade us with their musical talents or lack thereof. Their joyful off-tune harmonies had us in stitches, and it became a cherished tradition at our gatherings. But it wasn't just their zany antics that endeared them to me. It was their genuine camaraderie and the warmth they brought to our home. They showed me that life was meant to be enjoyed to the fullest, even if it meant mowing the lawn in Speedos or belting out songs with no regard for pitch. Their playful behavior was a reminder that adulthood didn't have to be all seriousness and responsibility. It was okay to let loose, embrace your inner child, and savor life's silliest moments. My dad and his friends taught me that laughter was a powerful bond that could bring people closer together. As I grew older, I realized that the memories of those quirky, humorous days with my dad and his pals were some of the most treasured in my heart. They were a reminder of the joy that could be found in the simplest and most unexpected moments. To this day, my dad and his friends remain my favorite people, not just for their quirks, but for the genuine love and laughter they brought into our lives. They showed me that a life filled with humor and lightheartedness is a life well lived.